times their size when they're cooked, and then those cells start to break apart in clumps. You get a very grainy texture. That does not happen with the red potatoes because there's less starch. The second thing is that there are two kinds of starch in potatoes. There's amylose and amylopectin. Russet potatoes have more amylose. Amylose actually crystallizes when it's cooked. You get a really grainy sauce. There's more amylopectin in the red potatoes, and those turn into a gel, which is really smooth. So for perfectly smooth sauce and smooth potatoes, we pick a red bliss or new potato over a russet. As it turns out, some truisms are true, like the simplest things in life are actually the most complicated. And when it comes to colanders, I think that is also true. How many holes? What size holes? What kind of base? Do you have a base at all? What shape? What volume? Question after question. Adam is here to answer all of them.
My head fairly spins, Chris. I gathered 16 colanders. The price range was $18 to $60. And what we have in front of us here are the ones that were just bad. These are sort of the innovative designs. They fold, they collapse. We did some pre-testing and just eliminated them altogether. They didn't do a good job.
Gone.
So we walk over here and we have the final lineup of 8 colanders. So what's the hallmark trait of a colander?
It has holes and it drains water.
It has holes and it drains water, exactly. Our tests were angel hair, orzo, and draining chopped tomatoes to make salsa. And you would think that bigger holes would be better. The orzo disabused us of that notion, because when you have big holes, the orzo slipped right through the holes. Also, in these larger ones with big holes, you tended to have them arranged in clusters like this, and that left these expanses of metal between the clusters of holes that didn't have any drainage going on. So they weren't even faster at draining. We had much better luck with the mesh or with this type that is perforated all over. Something else we paid attention to was the stability and the kind of base on these colanders. If they had a ring base like this one, stability was never an issue. However, if they didn't have a base like this one and it sat right on the sink floor, when you poured the water out of the pot with the pasta, it washed back into the colander all over the bottom part of the pasta.
Who would design a colander without a base? I ask you.
Good question, but somebody did. I guess because it's pretty in different colors. So that we didn't really like. Now this one also doesn't have a base, but it's got these wings that expand so that you can put it over the sink. Well, remember I told you that we were draining tomatoes to make salsa, and we wanted to collect the juices. We used a 9-inch bowl, which is a standard size. That doesn't fit very well. So that's sort of a questionable choice for your only colander in the house. Our last test was to clean these things. We put them through 26 cycles in a home dishwasher. And after the 26 cycles, these two brightly colored ones, the plastic and silicone, were kind of faded and dingy looking. The regular metal ones did a much better job surviving the cleaning. So in the end, this was our original winner, and this is still the winner. This is the RSVP International Endurance Precision Pierced 5-quart colander. It does a great job. It drains quickly. It keeps all the contents snug in the bowl. It's got a ring base that raises it about an inch up off the sink floor. It's got serviceable handles. It's $26, and it's still a champion colander.
So the winner, which is our RSVP International $26, is a winner because, and who would have thought, it has more holes.
All right, so these beans have been cooking for about 5 minutes. And the only way to tell if they're done
is to eat them.
That's right. Perfect. And you can tell those green beans are done because they're mostly tender but have just a little bit of bite left in the center. So now I'm going to take the beans out of the pan using a slotted spoon so that we don't get any of the water, and just spread them out onto this rimmed baking sheet. All right, so these potatoes have been cooking for about 10 minutes, and now it's time to test them for doneness. I'm just going to use the tip of a paring knife and slide it into the bigger pieces I see, and you can sort of feel the doneness on the tip of the knife. It should slide through pretty easily. So now we're going to take them out of the water. We're going to reuse this cooking water to cook the pasta.
Because it has a lot of good silky starch in it.
It
right?
does, and good flavor. Now we can add the pasta to the cooking water.
The gemelli.
In Liguria, you usually use one of the 2 types of traditional pasta, which is trenette or trophy. Obviously, they don't sell those in American supermarkets, so gemelli is the closest version to those shapes. All right, so while this pasta cooks, we're going to make our pesto. And now I'm just going to remove the skins from the toasted garlic And of course, whenever you put garlic into a processed sauce, you really want to give it a chop first, because if you just throw it in like this, it won't break down completely. And you'll wind up with some big chunks of garlic that don't really taste very good. So I'm just going to give them a coarse chop here before we add it to the food processor. And some perfectly toasted pine nuts.
There we are.
And of course, we're going to add some basil. And this is 2 cups, and the cups are really tightly packed, of fresh basil leaves. Oh, that smells good. Of course, we're going to add some extra virgin olive oil, and this is 7 tablespoons. This is half a cup of grated Parmesan, and a little bit of salt, half a teaspoon salt. We're just going to process this to make a nice pesto. And there we go. That's it.
By the way, you know, there really are dozens of kinds of pestos. It's just any kind of green herb, right? Almost any kind of nut, some
Yep.
olive oil, and a little cheese.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be basil, it doesn't have to be pine nuts.
Nope, but these are sure good.
But those are sure good.
All right, so this pasta has been boiling for a little bit, and really the only way to tell if your pasta is done is to taste it. So
You
it's
go
hot.
first. You go first. Go first. Perfect.
It is perfect. So here I have a bowl sitting underneath the colander that will catch all of that draining water. Now hold the pasta up, just let it drain without shaking for about 10 seconds. All right, if you could please take that back to the stove. I'm going to measure out 2 cups of this pasta cooking water, which is a lot more than we usually use. But right off the bat, I'm going to add 1.25 cups to the pasta, and then the rest we'll add it if we need it. All right, so now time to put all the components together. So now we're going to add, this pesto. This pesto smells good. I'm also going to stir in a little bit of butter. This is 2 tablespoons butter. A little bit of lemon juice. This is a tablespoon of lemon juice. And some black pepper. This is a half a teaspoon. We're going to add 1.25 cups of the pasta cooking water right off the bat. We can add the rest of the pasta cooking water as we need to get the sauce nice and creamy. And the key here is while the pasta's hot and the potatoes,
Oh,
and
man,
notice
that's
I'm
like-
really
yeah.
stirring it quite hardly, and usually you don't do this to pasta, but I'm doing it on purpose. I really want to help break down some of those potatoes, and that's good because it will make the sauce nice and creamy.
Is this going to go on for like half an hour? You're going to see
No, now I'm just
how long you can talk
now I'm
without
just teasing you.
me eating?
No, we're good. You can see the pasta's nice and glossy, and those potatoes have broken down into the sauce.
I think we just should dive right into this.
I agree.
What do you think?
I agree.
Oh.
Pasta with pesto is one of my absolute favorite dishes. And the addition of the potatoes and the green beans, they don't detract from it, they just make it better.
This is fabulous. So the secret to great pasta with pesto, potatoes, and green beans is to take everything separately. The green beans in a skillet with a little bit of water with a lid on. You cook the potatoes, which are diced red potatoes, in water, and then use that water to cook the pasta, the gemelli. Reserve some of that liquid actually to make the sauce, and of course we made a classic Ligurian basil pesto as well. So from America's Test Kitchen to your kitchen, a Ligurian classic, pasta with pesto, potatoes, and green beans. You can get this recipe, all the recipes from the season, get our equipment ratings, taste tests, and watch select episodes of this show at our website, which is, of course, americastestkitchen.com. Excellent, 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 excellent.